All right, we are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Scale with Strategy with myself, Elizabeth McFadden, and my lovely co-host, April Beach. April, we missed you last week, but Skeet filled in for you, and you are back. So today, we always do this chat for 15 minutes, no more than 20 minutes, and because we want to get in here, give you some really great tips and maybe some things you can implement this week, this month, this quarter, into your brand or business strategy. And today we're talking about how do you scale your brand from offline to online. And obviously, this is something that a lot of businesses kind of had to jump into. I mean, let's 2.5 years ago when the world shut down, but it really opened up a lot of opportunity for some offline businesses to then offer something online. And April, I know you and I both have seen where a lot of businesses jumped into this without any strategy. Maybe it wasn't even the right fit for them. And so we're going to today talk about 3 things that you want to do to take your business offline to online and to do that successfully. And I will tell you this, you may work through these 3 things and at the end decide that it's not a good fit for you. And that's okay. I feel like people need to, you still want to work through these tips, but at the end, it may not be a good fit and that's okay. Don't pursue something that's not going to work for you. So I'm going to run through the three tips. And then April, I know you've got a lot to add to this because online, helping businesses scale online is that's your sweet spot. That's your expertise.
Right. Well, and just as you were saying this, I totally forgot. It's so funny that we forget all the things that we do sometimes. In 2020, we hosted those 90 days of, do you remember that pivot or that shift 2020, where you and I hosted that group for businesses, like this emergency online transition group. It seems like forever ago, but it was actually only 2 years ago. And do you remember that for 90 days, we worked with all these businesses and figuring out how to do it. So if you guys are watching this, and whether you were in our group that we helped businesses in that transition, or you just did it on your own, now is a really good time to have a conversation about maybe resetting and making sure that is the right fit. So I'm excited about this talk.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so step number 1 is kind of a little bit of a 2-parter. But first of all, identify who your ideal client is for this online offering. It may be that it is a little bit different audience persona than who what your offline offering is, right? But identify your target audience for this online offering. And then because we're talking about an online product, sort of the next little baby step to that is then identifying where they are online. Specifically, we're talking about social media. There are a lot of channels you can be on. You should not be on all of them. Even if you have an online offering now, just because you're everywhere doesn't mean that matters, right? So identify who your audience is for this digital offering, and then where are they? And not only where are they, but then are they having conversations about what this product is or this need, this pain point? I mean, they're looking for a solution. They're not necessarily looking for your brand or your business because they may not even know that your brand or your business is the right solution. But they're looking for a solution for your pain point. And where are they having those conversations? And so that's where you want to be. And it's probably just going to be maybe a couple of social media platforms, but identify that. The second thing is, do you want to jump in there?
Yeah, real quick, Liz. Somebody who's listening says it keeps crashing on them and they're trying to hear the 3 tips. We'll make sure that the replay is up and recorded. Sorry if they're having like broadcast issues, but we'll make sure the replay is recorded for you guys. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
I've been there. I hate that. That's bummer. That's nothing we can really control on our end.
I know.
super bummer. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys know I saw that comment.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So tip number 2 is the right messaging. And again, this is so important. There's a lot of noise online, right? There's a lot of noise in the digital space. There's just a lot of noise in general. Even if you're talking about marketing and branding your product in the offline world, the messaging is really, really key. And making sure you're talking to the right people, you're speaking to their pain points, and you have really identified what your niche is in this digital space, making sure that, again, it's not something that every other competitor is offering and that it's no different. It really needs to be, you need to fill a niche, and you need to be really clear about what that problem is that you're solving. And April, as you always say, what's that transformation that's going to happen for somebody with your product or service that they buy online, that's the digital product. And then the third important component is, what is that digital offer? And I know, April, you've got a lot of great, resources for people to help them determine what that digital offer is. But there are a number of digital offers out there. And so what you want to keep in mind is, first of all, again, understanding who your audience is for this. What are their pain points? What is it what solution are you providing? So what is the best way for you to deliver that solution, right? So what's going to be the best way for you to do that? Secondly, is it something that is actually going to be, that's on brand for you, right? If it's something that it just doesn't quite, it's like, well, one, not geared to your audience, not really something that aligns with your brand, that's going to be a disconnect for people. And they're not gonna buy it. So, and then April, I know what you can add in here is your expertise on sort of some of the digital offerings right now that are working and the ones that are not. For instance, a course alone may not be the most successful digital offering for somebody. Or a paid webinar series or something like that. So there are, just like anything else, the digital offerings, have sort of a time and a place, and and really what people are wanting. So that's kind of the other thing to keep in mind when you are identifying your target audience. What sort of, because of where they are in their journey, whether that's business or personal, whatever it is that you're selling, what, based on how they like to consume information, what their time looks like, what's going to be the best option for them.
Yeah. Great points. So let's kind of recap what we've talked about so far. So making sure that the messaging is right based on the right channel and the right platform. So that's really, I just want to highlight on that. And then, obviously we'll talk about offers, but that's brilliant, Liz, because I feel like there's so many people, again, that they feel like they need to be online. So many businesses that need to be online, but are people buying what you are selling on that channel, right? So if you're trying to sell on Facebook, are your people actually going to Facebook to look for the product or to celebrate grandma's birthday, right? So like, why are they there? Why are they hanging out there? And so I would like to see you guys focus your time and your energy as far as, from a brand standpoint, having conversations in the places like LinkedIn. LinkedIn has especially been huge as of recent, in the places where people are coming to look for the solutions. When you're trying to compete with other things that they may be looking for, like great vacation stuff or gardening tips or whatever, it's going to be really hard to cut through that. So it would be better to be more effective on fewer channels than it is to, pull a whole Gary V crushing it, than, because and frankly, you might not like that. I mean, let's just be really honest. How much of us actually love just creating content for every social media channel all the time? So it might not even align with what you want to do as a business owner anyway. So I just want to reiterate that, because I think that's super important, is to do fewer things better than to do everything, half-assed, basically. With that being said, let's talk about offers. Yes. So courses are really popular. Obviously, we've been teaching businesses and entrepreneurs how to create courses for online since 2008, you guys. So one thing you need to know is they're not actually new. I know there are a lot of people talking about courses and how to create courses, but we've been teaching it for almost 15 years. And what we have seen with online courses is that now we're down to only 2% of people actually finishing them. So we actually have a 98% failure rate in online courses. Didn't used to be that way. It is now. And so that's a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if your course sells, that's a problem, because the integrity is that, and I know you guys want to be amazing at what you do, is making sure people are getting those transformational results from the programs you put out. So how we're engineering courses is different now than it was 10, 12, even 3 and 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to engineer courses according to what we call transformational course design. But let's talk about going back to the point of scaling online. So if you guys have an offline brand or an offline business, a service-based business, and you've done really, really well with whether it's brick and mortar or whether it's offline and you might travel to somebody, when we're talking about scaling online, it's best to just figure out where that scaling product, like Elizabeth was saying, can lay in your journey. So is that scaling product going to be a prerequisite to the other services that you may retain that could be more one-on-one, not scalable services? Or do you want that online offer to be something that is what we call an afterburn to your primary signature program or offer? And so those things are the decisions that you need to make. And again, the most important thing to do is for you guys to determine, what is it that they need to know, understand, agree with, learn, implement, take action on in that particular offer. How you engineer that offer is usually now based on what we call hybrid program design. Even if we're building a course, we want to build office hours into it, some sort of a live contact point within your program. If it's a training program that you may teach yet online, you may teach it to 100 people once a month online, still that live interaction. We can still scale businesses with high touch. And I think that's something very important for people to understand. The old, set it and forget it, put your course online, hop on an airplane, and when you get off the airplane, you've made $100,000 because so many people bought your course. That's very 2012, guys. Unless you have a huge following, that is not going to happen. So how we engineer the program for your business, just, what I'm trying to encourage you guys is just don't fall into what, how do I want to say this? Like like everybody has to launch a course. You don't. Yeah. We can scale you to millions of dollars in doing it other ways as well.
Right. And, one of the things that, if you are planning to scale your business or you're actively scaling, one of the things that you do as a part of that is take a look at, what assets do you have that you can build on? Part of scaling a company isn't just spending more, investing more. It's also about how can we do more with what we already have. And so for a lot of companies, what they have found is they have, valuable IP. They have a process they can teach. They have maybe there's sort of an untapped audience for them that they really can't serve well in the offline space, but they can do it efficiently and effectively in the online space. But they're using, like I said, the IP, the assets that they already have. And now they can just scale their business, using that. And the digital space is a great way to be able to do that, and maybe to reach a larger audience, or even to reach a little bit different audience that can eventually flow into your primary audience group, right? So again, just another way to think about how you can scale your business. And if you're in the offline space and you're like, oh, I could never be, I could never take this business online. You probably can, and there may be a way to do that. And so, some companies were forced to do that over the last year or so and really found great success with it. So.
Yeah, great points. Okay, let's wrap her up. So let's recap the top 3 points, the top 3 tips, so that everybody can run with it. We want to hang out with you guys for a short period of time, high value, and just have a lot of fun together too.
Yes.
Let's get everybody on with the day.
Okay, so to scale your business from offline to online, three things. One, identify who your audience is, your ideal customer avatar, and where are they hanging out online? What social media platforms, where are they, and where are they having those conversations about the solution you offer? Number two, the right messaging. This messaging may be different than for your offline customers. So think about for your online customers, what that messaging, what those pain points need to speak to and who you're speaking to. And third, what is your digital offering? What does that look like? It may be a hybrid, it may be a combination of things, but again, it goes back to that ideal audience. What is going to be the best fit for them and for you to deliver a transformation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. That's super fun. Thanks, Liz.
All right.
All
We'll
right.
see
I'll
you.
see you guys next week. And I promise I will not have just jumped off a plane.
All right. Bye, all.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
See ya.